everybody, today I wanted to make a video comparing print on demand with bulk offset printing. I made a video in the past explaining why for my new project, Milk and Cookies, I decided to use a print company and have hundreds of copies of that book produced rather than go with a print on demand service like I have in the past. And I've got that book here. I'm absolutely thrilled with how it's come out. So this is Milk and Cookies, written by me and illustrated by Rhiannon Thomas. And this book is almost out in the world, so the release date is the 29th of September, and I've got Kickstarter rewards going out. There's lots and lots going on. Of course, if you want to know more about this book, I will leave a link below and you can pre-order it if you're interested. And I will also link below the video explaining why I decided to have this bulk printed. And I'll be making some videos over the coming months going through how I navigated that process, just like I did with print on demand. So, because I'm so pleased with how this book has come out, I decided to move my previous children's picture book, Lilly the Limpet Gets Lost, from print on demand over to being bulk printed. So whereas with Milk and Cookies this has only ever been bulk printed, with Lilly the Limpet Gets Lost I've got a print on demand version. So it's an ideal opportunity for me to be able to compare the two. So with Lilly the Limpet Gets Lost, this is the original first edition. This is illustrated by Yevgenia Blackery. And this is produced using Ingram Spark, so there isn't a KDP version of this book. I only ever used Ingram Spark with this one. And so as I say, I've decided to move over to this edition. This is a second edition printed with Mixam, which is the same company I used with Milk and Cookies. I will link Ingram Spark and Mixam below. Now, although I'm continuing to use Ingram Spark and KDP for my book Milk, I'm perfectly happy with them for adults' books. For children's books, I've decided to make the change. And today's video should show you a little bit more of why. So, in terms of comparison, let's start with paper thickness. So, the original edition, Lilly the Limpet Gets Lost. Now, Ingram Spark offer two options. You can have your book printed on, it's about 70 GSM, or you can choose the thicker paper stock, which is 104 GSM, I believe. And I chose the premium ink, so the premium ink and the thicker paper. Now, Ingram Spark is more set up for adults' books, and adults' books typically have got thinner paper than a children's picture book. So this is a bit thinner than you would expect from your standard children's picture book. Whereas with Mixam, you can choose any thickness of paper you want. So I ordered a sample pack to see what the different thicknesses felt like. And for this one, I decided to go with 170 GSM. So it's almost double what was available from Ingram Spark. And it's really, really noticeable. You've only got one option for the cover as well with Ingram Spark, whereas with Mixam, again, I could choose. So I chose 300 GSM. And again, the cover is a fair bit thicker than the Ingram Spark version. To give you an illustration, if I just show you how floppy the Ingram Spark version is, and then the Mixam's one, hopefully you can see that that's just much, much thicker. It's really hard to explain without touching it, but anybody who's looked at the two has just been like, wow, the quality on the Mixam one is lovely. So you can choose, you could have thinner paper if you want, but yeah, I really, really like the thickness, the durability of the paper in this. And the next thing to say is that I went for a silk finish on the paper. So it gives them a slight sheen, which I don't know if you'll be able to see on camera. I felt that gloss was too much, so you can choose a gloss finish to the pages if you want. Whereas with the original, you only have the choice of matte, because again, it's set up for adults books, so therefore it's not, that's the only option you've got, because you wouldn't really have silk or gloss pages in a novel. So, but I mean, you can see hopefully how flimsy that is, and if you had a little kid reading it compared to this, you'd have a job really gripping that page. I mean, a kid could. But yeah, it's a lot more durable and with a nice sheen to it. So it looks much more like you would expect a children's book to look. I think in terms of the cover, I think that the gloss finish is similar. It is slightly more glossy on the Mixam version, but I would be happy with the gloss finish on the Ingram version. But as I say, the paper stock used for the cover is a little bit thinner on this Ingram one. I don't know if I can really illustrate that compared to the one from Mixam. It is a lot thicker. Again, as I say, that's my choice, but you have that choice to make it thicker. So yeah, 170 GSM interior on silk, and then the outside is 300 GSM gloss lamination. And you have other options as well of things like spot lamination. You can have a matte finish, however you would like it. There's lots of options, which makes a big difference. They are exactly the same size. The new one has got a couple of extra pages because the minimum number of pages was slightly higher than what it was for Ingram Spark. So I had to add a couple of pages to be able to print it rather than having some blank pages or something. So I added some extra material such as my jellyfish and a few sort of information pages and some fun stuff. Now the next thing to say is in terms of the colour, because this is premium ink, I actually think this is pretty good. And I would say that the difference, I mean there is a difference in print quality, but I would say it's more due to the finish. So if I show you the same page, I don't know how to show you, hopefully you can see it's comparable. So this is the original and this one is the second edition. And the colours pop more. I would say in terms of the kind of the darkness of them, like the way that the ink has been laid down, there's not a lot in it. I would say it is slightly more vibrant. I would say it's more the finish that makes it look like that. So, but it is really nice. And there's definitely elements which didn't come out very clearly in the original Ingram Spark one, which are much clearer in the Mixam version. So the quality is considerably higher. We have the choice to make the quality considerably higher, which is, after all, why I made the change. I feel that this just stands up against any other children's book, whereas this one just didn't really feel quite up to it. You know, it was pretty good. It was okay. People were happy with it, but this one is nice. So in terms of other differences, price. Depending on how many you have printed will depend on the price. Ingram Spark is always the same. I pay roughly £3.50 a copy for this. If I order author copies. Whereas this one was about £2.20-ish. It depends how many you get printed. If you print more, you get a lower cost per unit. Now, that does mean that if I sell these in person at an event or on a website, I make more money from the new version than I did from the old one, which is fabulous. Whereas if I sell via some avenues, because of the distribution cost, Ingram Spark handle the distribution, because of the added cost of me posting it to a distributor and middlemen and all of this and the trade discount, this one actually ends up being a little bit more costly to sell via other outlets, so things like Amazon, Waterstones, that kind of thing. I will explain how to go about doing all of that in a future video, but the point is that if I'm selling this not to myself, selling it via other avenues, this is a little bit more costly, and that meant that I made the decision to put the price up slightly on this one. The quality's better, you know, I feel that it's justified to charge a little bit more, and I need to in order to be able to make a reasonable amount of royalty from this book. So this is £7.99 and this is £6.99, so I did have to increase the money a little bit. So you do have to run your numbers to know how that's going to work out. Now, another money related thing to bear in mind is that if you're ordering a proof copy, with Ingram Spark you just set your release date way in the future, so no copies are going to get printed, and order an author copy, and once you've made your book live, and then I paid the same as I would for any author copy, so it was about £3.50 plus postage. Whereas with Mixam, my single copy, although I didn't have to make the book live to do it, my single copy cost me about £28, including postage, and the hardback is about sort of £45, £50. So a single copy costs a lot. Although what I will say is that with Ingram Spark, you have to remember that there is a file upload fee of about $49. And if you need to make revisions, then you have to pay that again, unless you can find a discount code to get that money waived. Whereas with KDP, you can just revise the files. But something to bear in mind that could be an added cost if you get a sample of the book and you want to make some changes. So, I mean, those are kind of all of the print and money side of things. I don't really want to go into distribution. I'll save that for another video of explaining how you do that, because obviously there's differences in that. So if we're talking about print, I think there's really only one other difference I want to talk about in this video, which is the bravery side of things. With this book, you know, you put the artwork in and you know that if there's a mistake that you can revise it, and that only a couple of copies of that book will have gone out into the world, and that it's not going to cost you huge amounts of money. with this book, the fear of having a mistake in there and having printed hundreds and hundreds of copies is very real. So I would say there is a bravery related factor necessary with this here. So all in all, the quality is so much better and just more suitable for children's books. As I say, I'm quite happy with print on demand for my adults books. So I hope you found that useful if you're trying to make a decision about which route to take, whether to go print on demand or bulk printing. And what I should say is that the second edition of this book is now available on pre-order on my website. So if you want to feel the quality of the new version, you'd like to take a look at that, then I'll link that below as well. So yeah, I've only got 6 copies of this one left. There's a few available online via Amazon and things, but personally I've only got 6 copies left, so sad. So yeah, as I say, I hope you found that useful. Do leave in the comments if you have anything you'd like to add to the differences between the two, if you've got experience yourself. And please hit like if you found that helpful. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this one. Take care.